Hello and welcome in to Season 2, Episode 10 of Looking Up With Laird here on Sorare TV. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined once again by Harry Trades and Sam Tighe today to add 4 more names to the Looking Up With Laird Sorare data watch list. Gentlemen, we already had one player who was returning from injury who is now injured again from our list. That was 2 weeks ago, or 2 episodes ago. Sam is quite peeved about this. Probably not as much as Rodrigo Bentancur is himself, but unlucky to the max, right?
And it's not like it was a recurrence, right? I mean, he's
Right.
returning from an ACL. He hasn't tweaked his knee or done it again. He just got hacked out by, a player that I love, obviously, Matty Cash. But even I was mad at Cash for doing that, watching it happen. But yeah, I mean, look, if there's any silver lining, not for Bentancur, he won't care. But for us, it's that Bentancur's injury creates opportunity. So I'm just going to steal in and talk about my first player because
I was just about to say I was going to let you go anyway because of that unfortunate one.
You've segued me because I'm an opportunist, always have been, always will be. And if you've bought Bentancur because of the absences that Tottenham were dealing with and set to deal with in January, and he's now down, well, next man up philosophy here is Giovani Lo Celso. Now, Lo Celso is really, really good and should probably be much more of a factor at Tottenham anyway. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised at how little Ange Postecoglou has really wanted to play with him at all. Although they don't have too many games on the schedule, so you do get that opportunity to keep that kind of settled squad.
Yeah,
I spent most of the summer hoping that Aston Villa would sign Lo Celso. It didn't happen. And then I watched him score against Villa at the weekend, which I was quite annoyed about. But look, he's now back in this mix. It was Pierre-Emile Højbjerg that came on for Bentancur, but Lo Celso was already starting and already basically stands to be a very important player for Tottenham now. So, as we know, with this Tottenham team, they get a lot of the ball. They get a lot of touches. There's a lot of opportunities for attacking actions, on the ball actions. And we've kind of seen that creep through with, I've talked about Pedro Porro in the past and Udogie. Everyone really, except for the decisive dependent players maybe, these Tottenham players tend to score pretty well on Sorare at the moment. Even when they're losing, they do pretty well. And Lo Celso's score was really nice against Villa, even the decisive side. There's obviously a factor for Argentina, which is very helpful. And look, from now, I think he's got a shot at 9 or 10 straight games. And the reason for that is you just need to simply look at the calendar, look at the suspensions and injuries, and look at who they're going to lose. So Maddison is injured. He is out, and he's out for the rest of the calendar year. Even if he were to return in early January, Spurs don't actually have a fixture until January the 14th in the Premier League. They've got a little break and an FA Cup game. So there's sort of nothing in there. Mm-hmm. So Maddison and Lo Celso aren't going to clash because by the time Maddison is back, Sarr and Bissouma have already gone to Africa for the AFCON. They're probably going to leave January the 10th or something like that because they've got a game on, well, one of them's got a game on the 15th and one's on the 16th, I think, the following weekend. They could conceivably be at AFCON for 3 weeks. If they make it through the groups, which they will, they'll be playing at the very end of January. If they make it into the quarterfinals, they'll be playing into February. So we're going from literally tomorrow or Saturday, whenever the Spurs' next fixture is, depending on where this goes out, to the end of January. And there's 9 or 10 games in that run. And Lo Celso's just going to have to play them all, lads. He just is. They've got no one else. And the great thing about this is he's also really good. And so, while they may have been stiffed into playing him, I mean, there are worse players to have to call on.
I feel like he's had a weird time at Spurs. And obviously, we've had multiple managers to deal with it. But it feels like he's good every time he plays. But apparently, it's never good enough to keep his spot when the players who are playing in front of him inevitably come back. But yeah, it is one of these that every time he's in, he's on it. And let me see here if I can. These are pretty good scores for a player. These are his starts for Tottenham. And yeah, it's really good.
That's not bad. He's got a nice little L15 at the moment. just off the back of not playing too much, a few sub appearances. I think he's got 4 or 5 really stinky looking appearances in that L15 that are going to take a while to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice as well. Obviously, if you're cap conscious, you've got quite a lot there to before that disappears. So even if he does really hit the ground running and basically ends up playing 4 more excellent games, you're probably still in a manageable position by the time January rolls around. So that's quite attractive as well. International utility doesn't really factor in just yet. To be clear, I don't know what Lo Celso is going to look like from February onwards. Like when they have Papstar and Bissouma and Maddison all fit again, like how much of a role does he play? I don't know. But obviously at the moment, a lot of thinking is having to be donated to this Premier League special. Lo Celso is not very expensive from a limited basis here. I think if you consider the scores that he can offer, this I've been looking at midfielders for the new Premier League cards. That is not expensive compared to some of them, lads, honestly. So as a little fix for the winter special or for something to get you through the Christmas in rare or limited and thresholds, I think this is a nice 2-month option.
It seems really cheap, given like where we've seen some of these cards, and maybe the fact that they play Man City this weekend keeps it down a little bit. But surely, like home to West Ham, at least they're home against Newcastle, at Forest, home against Everton. Is this one of the ones that didn't count the Brighton match? Brighton, I know, have 2 midweeks that I think that are not counted in the. I remember in the.
Yeah, you're right. I can't remember which one it is.
Might have been that one. There was another. Who was I talking about earlier today that they played Brighton? That was another one. Might have been Brentford.
West Ham, maybe. Yeah,
West
Brentford.
Ham. Yeah. But yeah, it's a solid run. And it's weird. With Sorare, you're just like, it's important to look ahead into the future and kind of figure out what's going to happen. But when you said, like, after AFCON and everyone's back, and I'm just like, you can't think that far ahead. Like, you just never know. Because, like, you don't know what, like, could happen at AFCON. You don't know if something happens to Maddison again, where it gets kind of delayed. Like, it's one of those that, like, this is looking up, certainly in the short term, but there's so much that can happen in in 3 months that he could still be a very important part, or he finally plays himself into a regular spot because he's so good over this time where he has to play.
Yeah, quite possibly. You're right. Don't look too far ahead. Look ahead, but not too far ahead. Wise words to live by, Andrew.
Let me see here. Let me at least put our little. There we go. Expected to start this week.
I never knew you could do that, by the way. Ever.
What, just on the...
Yeah, that's new. That's news to me.
No, Andrew has been doing that, like, subtly.
What?
Not all the time, but for basically the entire time that we've been recording this show. Like,
Are you
every now and then,
serious?
he has been, like, all year. Right, Andrew? Yeah. I've seen him do it loads of times.
What? I've never noticed that. I swear on my life now, I've never, ever seen you do that. Ever.
So there is one thing that you have to realize is that it'll only show the next game. And so that's obviously his next game. So we're recording this on a Wednesday. If you pull up any player that plays in the current midweek, it'll show the midweek game. So you can't actually submit one.
Okay.
So just in case you like go to do it, I tried to do it on Kelleher earlier today because I was like, oh, he'll start at the weekend, but it's actually showing the Europa game. But yes, you can do that.
Interesting. The more you know.
The more you know. There. Anyway, I love that pick, Sam. Yes, he's always been just kind of a weird one for me. Just what I said before, that it always felt like he was really good when he plays. And somehow it's just never good enough to get him to be like locked in when there are other players. And I don't know if maybe Ange just likes to have Sarm Bissouma be a little more defensive than Lo Celso is, but I don't know he's a good player.
I know. It feels like this career has never really quite started for him, and I feel like he's got a little bit unlucky sometimes as well. Like I think I'm sort of dredging through the memory banks here, but like he really hasn't scored very many goals for Tottenham, and he's like hit the bar or come extremely close loads of times. When like at a time when if he just got that goal, then things would have really started to ramp up for him. And he's just on the cusp 4 or 5 times. Then there's an injury, then there's a change of manager, then he drops out. Whatever it is, it's just like he's never been able to sustain and then like really take advantage of those moments. And it's been a massive shame for him. Really, it's been a couple of wasted years for him, unfortunately, but he's still only 27. I'm sure he'll either make his mark here under Ange or finally convince someone to come and buy him because people will remember how good he is.
Yeah, it's 7 goals in 24 starts and 45 total appearances for Spurs, at least in the time that we have on Sorare. Has he been taking corners? With Madison out?
Right, I can't remember. Have a look.
Guess not. Looks like
No,
Pedro
it's
Porro,
paused.
because he's definitely taken them in the past. But I guess Porro and Kulusevski.
Can we just hang on? How many corners was that in total? 12, 4, and
That's in the last five
Oh,
games.
okay. I was going to say, why don't they get any corners?
No, yeah. I went to I usually change it right away to last 5. Although I guess this does include 15. Have they played 15 this season? Close enough.
Played 13.
Oh, okay. So close enough. So yeah, that's the list there.
Yep.
That's why I do the 5. So because I know
that makes sense. I just thought, hang on a minute, 18 corners in 13 games is quite low. Never mind.
Who cares who's taking corners when they win 1.5 per game? Anyway, I like that call a lot, Sam. I like it a lot. Cool. Mr. Trades, what do you got today?
So my 2 picks today are actually sponsored by the Turkish Super League. We finally got a brand deal. The Turkish travel board has gone into their pockets, and
there we go.
I've gone with a goalkeeper actually for my first pick, which is not really.
This segment is brought to you by Sport Toto, the Turkish Super League. Please carry on.
That's unbelievable. No, I've gone with a goalkeeper, which I'm not really known for on the series.
You better be 15.
He's not too far away from 15. He's 22. He's 22, and his name is Erdem Erdem Canpolat, who is basically, from what I've kind of researched, the cheapest under 23 goalkeeper you can kind of buy, especially at rare level.
I'm sorry. How do you kind of buy a card?
You get it off Pavel.
You could loan one.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I think he's, from what when I looked on Sorare data earlier, he's definitely one of the cheaper under 23 sort of European goalkeepers you could buy right now. By quite a stretch, I thought as well. Like, you're looking at like £200, I thought, roughly, for the rare. Everything else kind of starts at 300, I think, from what my memory serves. And I mean, look, obviously he's not blessed with unbelievable scores. Obviously, look at the L15s, which, you know, in a weird way could sort of double act as a 240 introductory goalkeeper, because we all know goalkeepers are the hardest sort of position, or, you know, the most expensive position at least to buy if you are looking to get into cap 240. Obviously heavy defeat this last weekend, but before that 80, like, he's the type of goalkeeper where, you know, if he does get a clean sheet, you'd hope, which is very very rare with the team he plays on, Appendix Ball, but like, I just think he's like an okay goalie for cap 240 right now. And if you do ever want to play him in under 23, because he's got 2 years of that, then like the option's kind of there. And like, if I'm getting into 240 right now, would I rather spend it on somebody who's like 22 goalkeeper wise, or do I want to buy like some 30-odd-year-old keeper for like the same price? I know, like, you know, we don't know how long we're going to be playing this game, but like, in my head, I'd rather spend 200 quid on this guy, just because, you know, yeah, his scores aren't the best, but you've got that utility for a long, long time if you ever wanted to pivot into under 23. And short term, lads, Turkey play all the time over Christmas.
Mhm.
Like that was kind of, the reason I kind of Turkey kind of wanted to sponsor the videos because they play all the time. Like, they play all the way through January, obviously December as well. And yeah, there's just not really a break. I think there's a break between like it was like three. Let's have a look.
Looks like 437 is off, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah, 437. Yeah, literally, you jump from 435 to 439. Yeah, I mean that could be a little, interesting period over this next sort of 8 to 10 games. You could, I mean, not financial advice, but Jesus, 5 thresholds pays this guy off, doesn't it? Realistically, like it just does.
If only that's how it works.
If
Only 2.5 in
but
limited.
like 2.5 in limited. He's my cap 240 goalkeeper for my road to glory. And he did win me my first threshold. I didn't pay for him. I was gifted this card from Germ. Big shout out to Germ if you're watching. Germ donated
That's
me
why
my
I
second
know this
goalkeeper.
guy's name.
Yeah, Germ
he-
put me on to Campolat, to be fair. I will reveal that. Dark secret.
Ooh. Basilbot's got one.
I have someone who played against him. I forget who it was, but I just remember I made a comment that they were going to destroy him, and Germ in some stream was like, "Not if Canpolat has anything to do with it," and I'm like, "Who?" And then I saw it, and I was like, "All right." And I think it was one of his like 3 clean sheets all season. I can't think of who. Did he play? I don't even know. That's why I know him. Yeah.
But yeah, decent young goalkeeper for stupidly cheap. I know his scores are kind of reflecting the stupidly cheap sort of remark, but like, I don't know. I just think I think there's definitely a reason to get into 240 under 23 on the cheap by going this way because, like I said, over this Christmas period and New Year, there's a lot of chance to sort of recoup whatever you sort of invest in a kid like this. And yeah, no, I just think, look, I doubt we're going to see a team win under 23 with Campolat in goals, but that's not really, his purpose, I don't think. I think his purpose would be, can we do well in 240 with his, like, take advantage of the low L15? And they play, like I said, a crap load of great games over this next sort of Christmas period. So
it looks like as long as he doesn't concede 3, which I realize is a weird thing to say, but like the AA scores are quite good that if he concedes, if you're sitting in the 45 to 60 range, which is kind of where he is when he does concede and doesn't give up 3, that's really, really helpful. And like you can win in under 23 without a clean sheet if you're getting 12 to 20 AA from your goalkeeper.
I was just shocked at how cheap he is, though. Like, I don't know if you can go by like Card Finder. I think I did like under 23, obviously goalkeeper, and like obviously by starters as well. And I don't know, he just felt way cheaper than all the other options I could see. Even around like players like obviously Pandor we've mentioned. I think he's at like say 300. Like, there's just a significant gap, really. Like, there's not many in the 200 from what I could see. So I don't know.
I think you're right. I mean, it's hard to find non-U23
like even J-League keepers are like $200. Like, what?
Right.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, like if Slonina has a floor price of 463 with a 3-day average of 386, he should never be more.
Okay, he's younger, but yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Even like the Austria boys, like how's Heidel nearly like 50% more? I know scores okay, but those L15s are looking very similar to Campolat. So, you can't really say too much realistically.
And they're about to take 2 months off.
Exactly. That's what is baffling me really with the utility is mainly the main point I'm getting at. Like, yeah, okay, no midweeks, but there's a couple there where he actually does play.
I was gonna say there are midweeks.
Yeah, there actually is, isn't there? Where's it to? Yeah, he plays 333 and 334.
Yep.
And then there was another one,
444
and 445.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels too cheap for me.
Yeah.
Agreed. I've just made an offer for one.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
I've just sent Basilbot an offer for one of the rares.
Okay.
Quick,
Okay.
Laird, ask me a question before I do something
Sam,
stupid.
I think he's like your height as well. I'm gonna guess. Obviously, I've been around Sam.
I mean, he's a goalkeeper, man. He absolutely should be.
Well, yeah. He's 6'4". I'm pretty sure you're around
Yeah,
that, aren't you?
that's my height. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
Oh, another reason to
Yes.
buy him. Sweet, we're the same height.
He's German. Does that?
No,
Does that...
he's German Turkish. I reckon you say his name Can Polat. I reckon that's an Emre Can style one.
Emre Can Polat, yeah.
Or Erdem Can Polat. But I reckon it's one of those. We'll ask Channy. Again, clues in the name, Channy.
There you go.
True.
So one of the things I noticed, and this feels like, and you mentioned Pander before, the schedule gets a little easier. And so it's one of those that like there are some easier fixtures. Pendikspor not quite at the top of the Super League, but there are going to be enough matches where like the matchup itself is good. And again, if that AA keeps up, like there could be some like outlier scores coming up. That's all.
100%. I just wanted to add though that on the sort of 240 front, just off of that, like 220 is long form. Long form right now. And like we mentioned, those midweeks, like that 444 and 445, would that fall into the 220 lid? I'm sure it would, right?
For sure, yeah.
So like, there's an extra sort of chance there. Like if you buy a limited and play them in 220 rare, because obviously, 40 L15 is very, very helpful in obviously packing out that 220 cap. So I think he's versatile, man. Like I think you could just kind of do not whatever with him, but he could go in certain places which could fill holes at a price where like I don't know, man. It feels a little bit too cheap.
Yeah, I like that call. Adding goalies. What are we doing here? Sam, can you bring us back to reality here?
Yes, I can. Well, kind of. It's because I'm going to talk about an under 23 player. So I'm kind of stealing Harry's thunder a little bit, but we can go for it. And we're going to talk about another player that I really like. It's Jacob Ramsey, who is back again. He's now come off the bench a handful of times, a couple of times really. Broke his metatarsal in the summer while England won the under 21s. Missed the start of the season, came back, had a little bit of a recurrence, so they sort of set him back and just said, right, let's make sure this is fixed. As you can see there, there's 3 games back. He came off the bench and scored against Brighton, and then immediately they were like, right, let's make sure this is healed for good. So they've been really careful with him this time. And he made, was it a 1-minute appearance against Tottenham at the weekend? He came on and dribbled the ball out of play. It was awesome. Absolutely fantastic.
Real highlight, real stuff there.
Don't worry, that is not what we were expecting from Jacob Ramsey on a week-to-week basis. You can just take a look at the scores. That's the sort of scorer that he is. A goal-scoring midfielder, a really powerful carrier of the ball. So presumably someone that wins attacking contests. I haven't actually checked, but I'm going to guess that that's the case. There's a lot of duels won. He's pretty active defensively as well. Like he gets the double quite a lot in sort of surprising ways. But this is a goal scorer, sort of operating off the left-hand side and just cutting in and just letting fly. He's really, really good. And he's very young. I think he's got a year and a half left of his under 23 eligibility. So plenty of time there to utilize an under 23 if you want to. But like, I don't see him as an under 23 player, to be honest with you. I just see him as a really good scorer and a really good player. And as is often the case with this kind of show, when we're making our picks, one of the easiest things to do is essentially highlight who is returning from injury and who is back. And you don't have to look too hard to see that Ramsey's a very good card.
Who sits if he starts?
So ideally, that last 11 that you can see on the right against Tottenham is a bit of a mess.
Let's see if we can find a real one.
So probably. Let's have a look. Yeah, Luton. What happened? Yeah, so it's basically Zaniolo. Zaniolo is in trouble here. What you're looking at on the screen there is Villa's best 11, except for the fact that Alex Moreno isn't at left back and Jacob Ramsey isn't at left mid. So you've got basically a new left side to come in. They're both fit. Right. Moreno could easily have been a pick for this week. So Villa, I think, are about to replace their left side, and it's the same left side that carried them into Europe last season. They were exceptional. Villa have tried all sorts at left midfield this season. Like Zaniolo's been there. Tielemans played there against Fulham. McGinn played there against Tottenham, but he usually plays on the right. Nothing's really stuck. They're just waiting for Ramsey to return. Yeah, he's a academy kid. Oh yeah, look.
I like this one. No wingers. Forget it.
No, the wingers don't work. We don't like them. He's an academy kid. He's absolutely adored the club of. They'll put give him every opportunity. He's not someone that they're like, we'll see if we can get him game time. He's like, let's get Ramsey on the pitch as soon as possible, as often as possible. He is like the crown jewel of the academy coming through over the last couple of years, and he is exceptional. So, yeah, I mean, look, I don't have any money left because I'm about to buy this Turkish goalkeeper, but if I did,
I think that's really fun. Yeah, it's exactly, you're right. It's exactly the type of player that we would have on this show coming back from injury. He's young. You got plenty of run up, and the background knowledge of that, that he's an important like person in this club, that he came up to the academy, and like getting those kids onto the pitch is really important for so many reasons. And he happens to play the position where they're struggling the most and finding someone. So like it all really fits in.
Yeah.
What was the injury?
He got stood on and he broke his metatarsal.
Oh,
yeah. You don't get too many metatarsals nowadays, do you? No, it felt like an injury straight out of 2004. But I mean, honestly, like, remember when like there was an actual metatarsal epidemic, and like Wayne Rooney went down before the World Cup and all that. Like, I remember all of that stuff, and then ever since, obviously, it's been, the one you really fear nowadays is the ACL.
right.
And Ramsey ran it back a bit there with that one.
So is it did he aggravate it here? Was he just not ready?
They said he aggravated it. Like, Villa are very, very vague on injuries. They try really hard not to give you any information whatsoever. So it's really hard to tell. It could have been a case of, like, with these, I'm no expert, but obviously we know, looking at this stuff, that if you have an injury and then you come back, you can aggravate something else that's linked like that. That's quite common. Like if you do your ankle and then you would do your calf afterwards. I mean, I've done that a few times. It's the body parts that are linked. You can just aggravate other things. You run differently. It changes your mechanics. You never know. So to come back briefly and then be back out again isn't that uncommon. Hopefully now this is it. It needs to be anyway. Villa really need to fix the left side. I say that Villa are 2 points off top. It's not like they're really in need of doing stuff, but like, the common sentiment among Villa fans all season is, God, we're good, and imagine how good we'll be when we've got our left side back.
Yeah.
And also, look, PL special. Again, like, because of the L5 and the L15, the price isn't too bad, like probably looking at about 15 quid. Lo Celso was marginally cheaper. I think they're both really nice options. A proper midfielder that can score you really well right now in the new season card in limited is £20 or more.
I mean, it went for 11 yesterday.
Lucky person. That one snuck through. Yeah. Well done to that person.
Nice. Mr. Trades, last one today.
Yeah, so like I said, obviously both picks are sponsored, and this one a lot cheaper actually, not in the same position. We're going with a defender called Bayamin Balki, who plays for Antalyaspor, BALCI. Sorry,
BALCI. Nope.
Yeah, it should be. There he is. Balki. Where do we start with this guy? So, just full disclosure, I am a limited and super rare owner.
There it is.
Now, this came in a funky little trade. When I won in the 23 Rare Pro a little while ago, I won Donnarumma, and he was aging out, I think, or maybe aged out. I can't remember. Anyway, I swapped him for Gavin Bazner, who hopefully will feature very soon on the show, and a Bayamin Balki super rare. At the time, he was just a starter at the time. Like, he was just playing. Like, he didn't really score that well. Maybe there's a couple scores here and there. And yeah, he's featured heavily in my road to glory. And somebody that I honestly can, like, the biggest thing with Sorare is like trust, right? Like, how many times can you say like you genuinely like trust a player to go out and do something for you in like a specific fixture? Not all the time, obviously.
Never.
Because he doesn't play, because he doesn't play on the best of teams, but his team are in a very good run of form. That's 3 wins out of the last 4. The most recent draw for them, who obviously does some good things for his score, but not incredible. At right back, he is kind of unfortunately sort of hamstringed by the whole losing possession, because he is quite attacking. I know you wouldn't believe it with the the lack of decisives, but like he does pass the ball in the final third quite a bit for a right back, and he's like the Turkish Trent. Shall I just put it like that?
This is a sponsored show. There's no way you'd say that unless you're under serious duress.
Well, there was 5 figures in the deal, Sam. So.
Oh wow!
But you know what? For £1.60, lads, as a limited, and you're looking for under 23 defenders, as I am a lot of the time. It's just a weird position for me. It should be the easiest to kind of cover, but it's just not. And I feel like my best approach is like, let's get like 3 or 4 guys for cheap than like one like very decent guy. I don't know why. I like the choice. I like the chances of playing matchups. And recently, I've been able to pick Balki more times than I thought I would have, previously. You look at the start of the season, very average scores. They were conceding a lot of goals, and they're still conceding goals, but they're in good form. And a defender that can score you like almost 40 AA. Okay, there's a clean sheet in there as well, and it's only happened say once 30, 28. Let's just call it 30. A defender that can score you 30 AA, the odd assist, and I really do mean the odd assist. Like, again, I just think he's a little bit too cheap. I know there's probably a good supply of him and stuff and whatever, and I'm not saying he should be like a £10 limited card, but like he's just a decent under 23 defender that can be trusted from time to time. And look at those next couple of fixtures, lads. I'm not seeing any Fenerbahce, Besiktas, Galatasaray in there for a long time, by the way. Have a look at them. Fenerbahce is the first one that comes in.
February 3rd.
And it's Feb. So it's like you've got this whole sort of Christmas festive period of Bayomin Balki. I've got £27 for a rare. Is that floor? It's 3-day average, to be fair. So I don't know what his floor is as we speak. I'm sure Laird could find that out for us. But okay, becomes ineligible for under 23 next season. But for this season, I think there's definitely merit in wanting to own a Balki if you're sort of low on under 23 defenders. It's just not much to say.
He's
like
I was like, he's a guy.
He's just okay. Yeah, he's a guy.
Yeah, I was really.
I've watched him play, and he is okay. Like, I'll be honest, I've watched him play multiple times. He's decent.
I was waiting to see I wanted to come to this page, the stats page for who does he play for? Antalyaspor, and just be like, oh, he has like 8 big chances created, but no assists, and it's going to happen. But it's not really there either. So.
It's not, but look at those. I think you just had it. The penalty area entries, that was pretty high, right? Yeah, 43 for a right back. He's got like
for a right back. Yeah, this is in the last 15 games. Yeah, okay, I mean 15 attempted assists too. Like Larson is their main set piece taker.
Got you. Yeah.
So which is probably why he has all these attempted assists and whatnot. But does he take any Balchi?
Is that old man Sebastian Larson? Like the
no,
no,
okay. Sam Larson.
Okay,
not Sam Larson.
Wasn't Sebastian?
Yeah,
Seb Larson, the older one.
Seb Larson was the old one.
Yeah.
You never know what you might find in Turkey. Like, you think that would be a stupid idea, but it's not out of the question.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. But yeah, it looks like he doesn't take. Actually, going back to there. So with this, Tighe? No,
I don't know. I recognize that name.
Do you? I've never seen that player.
Didn't he play for like Sheffield Wednesday or something?
No way.
Did he?
But if you just notice that of the 3 who lead them in attempted assists, Balki's the only one who doesn't take set pieces. Like, this is all.
And is a defender.
And he's a defender, right?
he's decent. Like he's just
That's
a decent.
Harry. That's some sneaky stuff. There's going to be, in fact, which midweek will it be? Sam, here it is. Game week 434. Harry wins U23 Super Rare because of this guy finally getting his assist and banging out like 88. And we're going to look at that lineup and we're like, who is in that? And we're like, oh my God, it's Balky.
It's Balky.
Congratulations on your podium, Harry, in game week 434. Midweek action.
Mr. Midweek.
Best thing about this guy is that's presumably the Turkish version of Benjamin. Well, what a name! What a way to spell Benjamin. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best thing about this guy. You didn't mention that once, Harry.
Sorry.
You were too busy calling him the Turkish Trent Alexander-Arnold.
The Turkish Trent. That has to be the title of the video. Has to be.
We've seen it all right there. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for that. As a reminder to everybody, the Looking Up With Laird Sorare Data watch list available for everybody who is a member of Sorare Data. You can just search Looking Up With Laird, and all of the players that we talk about on the show are on this list. As you see, they're added on the show, which is not live. And so if you subscribe to this, you will get these players before everyone else. Looks like 330 managers are already subscribing. We are now up to 128 players on the list. And I don't think we've missed a single one. They're all zero misses. So yeah, go to that list. Thank you to everybody. If you could please like the video, subscribe to Sorare TV if you have somehow watched this video and are not subscribed. Excuse me. There's a lot of great content on the channel. And so if you're into Sorare, it's all there for you. Gentlemen, thank you very much for that. And we'll see you next time.